All right, this is the Pink Floyd album review for Meddle, 1971, which I common and frequently refer to as Echoes, and I use that almost interchangeably. But the name of the album is Meddle, and I do that because the second half of the album is the best Pink Floyd song ever, and it's called Echoes. Okay, Meddle was released on October 31st, 1971, and it is produced by Pink Floyd. And by now you should know that Pink Floyd is Roger Waters, David Gilmour, Richard Wright, and Nick Mason, and Syd Barrett has left the band. And they started in '67 with Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and they've made it this far. So a bunch of albums, and here we are. This album has 6 songs, and it's 47 minutes long, and pretty stellar. The album cover is by Hypnosis, which they started doing all the Pink Floyd albums, and Hypnosis was led by someone named Storm Thorgerson, and he did a lot of the David Gilmour and Pink Floyd albums himself. And the album cover is unique. I'm just gonna take this out. It's what Storm was going for here. This is an ear, and you can see this here. It's kind of hard to see, but these are drops of water. Like they took a picture of an ear and put it underwater, and then they like put drops, and what they were trying to do was make echoes. Okay, that's what they were trying to do. It doesn't really work good. The back, you have more of those water drops, and this is my 1994-95 remaster, which I picked up in the 90s, right around 95, probably 96. It's got a bunch of really cool pictures in it. There's the 4 guys in the band, and the credits are in it, and the lyrics. It's really helpful for me to see the lyrics, and especially when I'm like trying to follow the music theory and the analysis. This is a cool picture. This one, you got a compass and then a Zippo lighter or some kind of lighter. I always like that one. You got a jackknife here. Is that what you call those? And then one of the more popular photos of the band. This was sort of like a down point for Pink Floyd. They were sort of like not sure where they were going as a band and what they were doing, but they created a masterpiece here. And the disc has that printed label on it, and you got the drops of water on it, and so it matches the theme. And it's a very nautical, marine-like theme. I mean, Roger Waters really was trying to get away from the whole space rock thing. He didn't like that. All right, now what does it sound like? It sounds like space rock, a little psychedelic in spots, but Waters changed the lyrics to, especially for Echoes, to a nautical theme to reduce the connection to space rock. And the other songs on it are kind of folksy. It's psychedelic, of course, like all Pink Floyd albums, but especially A Pillow of Winds and Fearless are pretty folksy. Okay, with that, let's get right into it. Track 1 is One of These Days. It's credited to the entire band, so Gilmour, Mason, Wright, and Waters. It's 5 minutes and 57 seconds. Roger Waters playing one note through the Benson repeat echo unit. And that's in page 165 of the book. Of course, when I say the book, I mean A Saucer Full of Secrets, the Pink Floyd Odyssey by Nicholas Schaffner. And, I've read different things, like this was David Gilmour playing the bass, and yeah, it says in the book, it's Roger Waters playing one note through a Benson repeat echo unit. I'm going to stick with that because that's what Nicholas wrote. So the book, to me, the book is the Bible. But what's great about the song One of These Days is it features screaming guitars by David Gilmour in the climax of the song. And there's a really excellent version on the Pulse DVD. And if you haven't seen that or heard it, you should check that out. I don't know if it's on the CD, which I have here, but it's definitely on the Pulse DVD. One of These Days is in the key of D major, and the first note is a B, which is interesting. That boom, 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 that bass line, that's a B. But it's in 4/4 time and changes to 6/8 time, and it's an instrumental from beginning to end. Except you can hear Nick Mason say, "One of these days, I'm gonna chop you into little pieces," or something like that. Okay, that's One of These Days. People like that song. For me, it's not my favorite, but it's okay. Track 2 is A Pillow of Winds, which is written by David Gilmour and Roger Waters. It's 5 minutes and 7 seconds long, and it's got lead vocals by David Gilmour. And it's in the key of E major or C sharp minor. If you go look up the music, there are 4 sharps in the key signature. At the intro and a G major, there's 1 sharp in the key for the verse. So it's changing, okay? The song takes a dark turn after the serene start to the song. After this lyric, the song changes from E major to its darker inverse, E minor, matching the inherently gloomy tone of the line. Okay, I think I took that from, probably Genius. It's 72 beats per minute, and it's in 4/4 time. The song, A Pillow of Wind, sounds like you're floating in the air with the, do, 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 do. And you can hear some of the slide guitar in there. It's a cool sounding song. It's just very light. And the verse starts, a cloud of eider dawn draws around me, softening the sound. It's 20 bar verse. And the song is 2 verses. So like I said, it's in E major, it switches to G major for the verse, and then that's the whole tune. A Pillow of Winds. Good song. Track 3 is Fearless, also written by David Gilmour and Roger Waters, with lead vocals by David Gilmour. It includes the You Will Never Walk Alone part, which is at 6 minutes and 5 seconds, the song Fearless. This is the second really acoustic song with a strong acoustic rhythm lead guitar part by David Gilmour. The whole bum 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 ba da 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 da. Okay, it's in the key of G major or in E minor. All the chords in the sheet music are majors except the E minor itself. So it's the E minor is the minor chord for G major. It's 74 beats per minute in 4/4 time. The verse is, you say the hill's too steep to climb. Climbing. And then the second verse is similar. It starts, fearlessly the idiots face the crowd. And those verses are 20 bars. Both verses are 20 bars, and there's only 2 verses. And there's a very long outro. And that's the exit part of the song that starts at 4 minutes and 43 seconds and runs to 6:05. So about 1 minute and 22 seconds. You can just make out the exit part like that's when it starts at 4. Like you can just barely hear it starting at 4:43, and it's a song that they sing at Liverpool. It's like their soccer anthem that they play at games, and interesting that it's Rodgers and Hammerstein. You'll Never Walk Alone. What I'm gonna do, I found a link of it on YouTube of You'll Never Walk Alone and the whole crowd singing it at a Liverpool game. Okay, I'll put the link in the description. You can go listen to it yourself. But it is a cool ending to the song. The song itself is a verse, and the outro, which is You'll Never Walk Alone by Rodgers and Hammerstein. Track 4 is Saint-Tropez. It's written by Roger Waters and sung by Roger Waters, and it's 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Do 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 do. As I reach for a peach and slide a lime and slide down behind a sofa in Saint-Tropez. It's definitely a change up for the album where the first track, One of These Days, is pretty psychedelic instrumental, and then A Pillow of Winds and Fearless are pretty light, happy. I wouldn't say happy, but really light in nature. And then you've got this real beat boppy song. The first verse is 19 bars. It starts out with that, As I Reach for a Peach. And then the second verse is 16 bars. But it's the exact same music. And then what happens in the song is there's a slide guitar. That's the third part of the song. It runs from 1 minute and 15 seconds to 1 minute and 47 seconds. So about 32 seconds. And it's 16 bars. It ends with 8 bars of electric guitar solo. So it's 8 bars of the slide guitar and then 8 bars of the electric. and it's. And then the last part of the song, there's a verse. The third verse is also 19 bars, like the first verse. And then the final part is a piano solo. The piano solo goes from 2:25 to 3:37. So just about a minute and, what is that? It's a little over a minute. But 16 bars. And then it goes to the end of the song. And then that's the song. You got verse 1, verse 2, the slide guitar and the electric guitar solo, verse 3, and then the piano solo. And that's Saint-Tropez. It's okay. It's all right. Track 5 on Meddle is called Seamus. It is credited to the band, Mason, Gilmore, Waters, and Wright. Interesting that they have Mason listed first on that. It's 2 minutes and 13 seconds. It's totally just 12-bar blues with a harmonica and a dog barking. It's in the key of D major. That's according to Chordify.com. And it's 73 beats per minute and in 4/4 time. The verse is David Gilmour singing, I was in the kitchen, Seamus, that's the dog, was outside. And it's just a 12-bar verse. And then after that, there's a piano and a guitar duet with the hound dog howling. It runs from 46 seconds to 2 minutes and 8 seconds, which is pretty much the end of the song. And, so that the dog howling part with the piano and the duet, the guitar duet, that's mainly the song. And it's a verse duet. If you've ever seen Pink Floyd live at Pompeii, there's another version of that. It's almost the same song. It's not quite the same because I don't think there's any vocals in it. But let me just think, what do they call it? Mademoiselle Knobs, I think is the name of it. But anyway, that's Seamus. Track 6 on Meddle is called Echoes, and it's written by Mason, Gilmore, Waters, and Wright, the whole band, and it's 23 minutes and 31 seconds. It's in the key of B minor or D major, 2 sharps in the key signature, so probably the minor key because the first 2 chords of the verse are B minor and F sharp minor. And, a lot of these Pink Floyd songs are in minor keys just because it's so doomy and gloomy. And that's the way they want it. They want it to be very heavy. Not heavy in a heavy metal sense, but they just want it to feel like a heavier, more somber. It's 72 beats per minute, so a very slow tempo, and it's in 4/4 time. Echoes, to me, is the all-time Pink Floyd masterpiece. It's my number 1 for Pink Floyd. It's also Richard Wright's number 1, according to David Gilmour. Richard Wright really liked it. And it has everything you want in a Pink Floyd song. It's doom, it's jams, freeform, structure, it's jazzy, it's bluesy, it's got everything. It's got vocal harmonies. It's perfect. The first thing you hear is a ping, like a sonar in a submarine, and that goes right along with what Roger Waters, what I was talking about at the beginning. He wanted to separate Pink Floyd from this notion of they're a space rock band, and he made it like a nautical marine type theme. And so what you get in the song is you get the ping, ping. That starts the song at 000, and it runs to 2:57, and it's just a big, like an organ demonstration from Rick Wright. The bum 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 bum. And let me tell you, on the album, it's great. When I heard it live from Nick Mason's The Saucer Full of Secrets band, the keyboard introduction, the organ introduction, just blew me away. It was so loud, and it was amazing. It's pretty good on the album. It's not as powerful to hear it live, but I can only imagine what it was like for Pink Floyd to play it live. It must have been amazing back in the 70s. Anyway, it runs until 2:57, and then you get into verse 1, and verse 1 runs at 2:57 to 3:45. It's about 12 bars long. That's how I counted it. It's 12 bars. And it starts out with David Gilmour and Richard Wright singing in vocal harmony. They sing all the verses in vocal harmony. And it's just a wonderful vocal by the two of them. Overhead, the albatross hangs motionless upon the air, and deep beneath the rolling waves and labyrinths and coral caves. I mean, he's singing about coral caves and rolling waves and labyrinths. It really does have that nautical marine type theme to it. And like I said, that was intentional by Roger Waters. There's an interlude after the second part of the verse is when they start singing, and no one showed us to the land, and no one knows the where or whys. Then that's the end of the verse, and then after that first verse, it goes into the 8-bar interlude, and that's the whole bum 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 bum, bum 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 bum, and that's just interesting because Roger Waters accused the authors of oh god, it's a Disney movie of plagiarizing Phantom of the Opera, maybe, or yeah, Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, I don't think that's Disney. Psh, just ignore what I just said. Anyway, that interlude is 8 bars, and then it goes into the second verse. The second verse is also 12 bars, and that's the part where they sing, "Strangers passing in the street by chance, two separate glances meet, and I am you and what I see is me." Okay, and it's very reminiscent of the first verse. And then it goes into the second interlude, which is also 8 bars, and it's the whole bum 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 bum. It does that thing. And then at 5 minutes and 21 seconds is like the first jam of the song. And that jam runs until the 7-minute mark. So about 1 minute and... I can't do that backwards. About over a minute and a half. 2 minutes and 21 seconds. And it has the Phantom of the Opera feel to it, too. It really builds up to the second jam, okay? The second jam runs from 7 minutes and 1 second to 2 minutes and 55 seconds. So almost 4 minutes long. And Jam 2 is my favorite part of the song because of the funky beat, the keyboards, and David Gilmour playing screaming guitars. And it's the style of guitar playing he'll really nail on Dark Side of the Moon. After the second jam part is the psychedelic part with the eagle squawking Seattle Seahawk style. And that's David. You can see it on Pompeii. He's making that song sound with a guitar. It starts at 10 minutes and 55 seconds. That's when Jam 2 fades out and the psychedelic part starts. To me, this is more like Saucerful of Secrets, the album style. The chaotic jazz freeform styling. Trippy ambient Rick Wright keyboards playing. And it makes me think there are ghosts and demons lurking when I'm listening to it. There's no percussion, and it's 4 minutes and 8 seconds until the ping starts up again. And that's it's an amazing psychedelic intermission part. When the ping starts at 10:55, it's a long, slow build to come back to the third verse, which starts at 5 minutes and 3 seconds. And I really like when the arpeggiated guitars with the echo kicks in at 18 minutes and 14 seconds. After the long, slow build-up, or that second introduction, there's verse 3, which is 19 minutes and 12 seconds is when it starts. And now, this is the day you fall before my waking eyes, inviting and inciting me to rise. That third verse is also 12 bars, just like the first verse and the second verse. And that's how then the song ends, okay? And so the whole song is the intro, verse 1, the interlude, verse 2, the second interlude, the jam 1 and jam 2, and then that psychedelic freeform with the squawking eagles part. Then the song starts over with a second introduction, a third verse, and then a long outro with wind blowing. Like once you hear the wind blowing, that's how you know that the song's coming to an end. And there are 11 parts to this song. And by the way, the wind ties you back to the song "A Pillow of Wind." So it's just like there's all this structure, and it's very well thought out. One of the most well thought out albums there is in history. So in summary, Pink Floyd, Meddle. Sold pretty good. Its sales were 3,138,000. That was good for number 13 in 1971. And it's number 162 in the 1970s. And it's number 11 for Pink Floyd overall behind... It's actually behind Pulse in the final cut, which I think is pretty hilarious, actually. I get these numbers from bestsellingalbums.com or .org, whatever it is, best-selling albums. But you can go look at it yourself. I just think number 11, it should definitely be in the top 5. ProgArchives.com has Meddle at a 4.30 user rating. And that's good for the 4th best Pink Floyd album behind Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon, and Animals. On the ProgArchives.com overall ranking, it's number 45 overall. And like if you go to their website, they have they have all their prog albums, and it even tells you how they rank them, and how some rankings count for more than others. So you can go read all that. I find that all really interesting. Allmusic.com gives it a 4.5, 4.5 stars or 4.5 stars, and Rolling Stone gives it 3.5, which I think is low. But that's from the 2004 edition. I bet the original edition has it much higher. But, anyway, you can't trust Rolling Stone. I mean, go look at how they, ranked the top guitar players of all time. It's pretty hilarious. Anyway, okay. That's it for Pink Floyd Meddle. One of my favorite albums, especially from Pink Floyd. Coming up next on the channel will be Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the debut album, and then I've got to think through the next 10 or 12 albums or so after that. All right? I'm out.